Hello and welcome to Before You Pull, where we will show off the kits and details of upcoming characters as well as some recommended teams and disc setups to help you plan your pulls. All of the following is from the creator server, so things are still subject to change. Now, I'm not here to tell you whether or not to pull for Lighter, but what I can do is give you all the details so that you can decide for yourself if Lighter is the right fit for your team. So let's dive in. Lighter is a fire stunner from the Sons of Caledon, and his playstyle revolves around using his special morale gauge to perform easy quick assists and increase his impact dealt, which in turn helps him stun his enemies incredibly fast. And when they do get stunned, they take even more damage thanks to the handful of effects that he provides, namely increases to fire and ice damage and also extending the stun timer. Let's start off with his core passive. Lighter has a morale gauge that steadily charges over time by itself, but it is further boosted whenever a squad member uses energy for an EX special skill, up to a maximum of 100 morale. When morale is above 80, the next time you switch into Lighter, he immediately performs a quick assist. Now, when performing the 5th hit of his basic attack string with over 80 morale, he enters the morale burst state. In this state, he enhances all of his attacks at the cost of spending that morale, and for every 10 morale spent, it increases his impact by a certain percentage based on what level his core passive is. His basic attacks in this state also apply a debuff to the enemies that reduce both fire and ice resistance by 15% for 30 seconds. And then, what's more, is that when he performs the final attack of his basic attack string while in the morale burst state, enemies hit receive a special collapse effect debuff that extends the stun duration by 3 seconds once they are stunned. For his team passive, if another member in the squad is an attacker or from the Sons of Caledon, when Lighter is in the burst state and attacks with the final basic attack, which is the flurry of punches, all members gain a stack of elation, which stacks up to 20 times and lasts 30 seconds. Each stack increases the fire and ice damage of members by 1.25%. So in other words, a 25% increase at max stacks, which is pretty easy to do since each punch in the 5th basic attack provides a stack. What's more though, is that if Lighter's impact is over 170, when getting stacks of elation, for every 10 additional points of impact, the buff provided by each stack is boosted by 0.25%. This caps out when Lighter has 270 impact, which increases each stack to provide 3.75% per stack, or a maximum of 75% fire and ice damage increase. Oh, and also whenever a squad member performs a chain attack, it refreshes the elation duration for all members. Now let's take a closer look at Lighter's skills, starting with the previously mentioned basic attack string. This is a standard 5-hit combo. However, similar to Ching Yi, you sort of have an infinite combo going on here on the 3rd and 4th hits. By holding down a direction while performing the attacks, you'll see he constantly repeats the kicks and jabs. You can do this indefinitely, and also you can dodge after the kick to adjust your position while still maintaining the combo. However, unlike Ching Yi, if you dodge an attack with the sidestep, you do perform a regular dodge counter as opposed to a special dodge attack like Ching Yi, which does end your chain a bit earlier and perform the final 5th hit of flurry jabs. Once you let go of any directional inputs though, Lighter will finish off the chain with that 5th attack, which is the flurry of punches. This of course is boosted when in the morale state. Next is the EX skill. This is a simple 2-stage attack which starts with an upward strike, and if you have enough energy, you can follow this up with a downward slam that deals area damage. After performing the downward slam attack, you can chain this directly into the 4th hit of the basic attack string, which gives you easy access into that final flurry of punches. Alternatively, if you were already performing the basic attack combo, when doing a sidestep dodge, you can use the EX skill, and after that you can go directly into the 5th basic attack flurry. As for his assists and his parries, there's nothing too special to write home about here. They're the standard assist and counter parry, and his ultimate is just a big burst of AoE damage. So essentially, the way you want to play Lighter is that you want to have him off field for the most part until he gets his morale gauge up, and then once his morale gauge is above 80, you can switch over to him, which performs an immediate quick assist, perform an EX skill or two to shortcut into his 5th basic attack, which will enter him into the morale state, which then increases the impact for each of the flurry punches, building up stun very quickly. It'll also then apply the fire and ice damage increase to your team, and also the fire and ice resistance shred to the enemy, and then at the end of that combo, it'll apply the collapse effect, which will extend the stun duration by a further 3 seconds once they are stunned. Now, for Lighter's signature engine, the Blazing Laurel, the main stat it boosts is impact of course, and the bonus effect is that when the equipper performs a quick assist or perfect assist, which is very easily done by Lighter, their impact increases by 25%. And when hitting an enemy with a basic attack, it applies a stack of Wilt for 30 seconds, stacking up to 20 times. Each stack increases the crit damage of ice and fire damage dealt by 1.5% per stack, up to a maximum of 30% at max stacks. Unsurprisingly, this is tailor-made for Lighter, since he can very easily trigger the quick assist, even without a supporter thanks to his morale burst, and with his flurry of attacks for his 5th basic attack, getting 20 stacks of Wilt is very easy. One thing though is that unlike his team passive which boosts fire and ice damage, this engine buff is specifically crit damage. So, if your damage dealers aren't dishing out a lot of crits, this buff isn't that impactful. But of course, the signature engine isn't absolutely necessary for Lighter, as he can function without it just fine, and he can instead use an alternative A rank, the Precious Fossilized Core, which can be maxed out for free at the gadget shop. It also provides impact as the bonus stat, and the effect is a very simple increase to the amount of days dealt the higher the enemy's HP is. However, if the enemy is below 50% HP, the effect does go away. Moving on to the disc setup, a 4-piece Shockstar Disco is perfect to further help the impact and stunning, because of course impact not only helps Lighter stun the enemies faster, but the increased impact means that the fire and ice damage buffs that he provides is also improved. And as for the 2-piece set, Swing Jazz works very nicely with Lighter because of the energy regen that it provides, which means that you can use his EX special skills more often, which means that his morale gauge buildup is going to be improved. Since again, you get more morale whenever any teammate spends energy for an EX attack. As for the main stats, slot 6 I think is going to be a no-brainer here, and that is going to be impact. Meanwhile, slot 4 and 5 are kind of up to you. Slot 4 I would say either attack, or if you're running something like Bernice and want more anomalies, Anomaly Mastery can work here. Slot 5 though, really any offensive stat should do you well. Attack, penetration, or fire damage. Speaking of Bernice, let's talk about team compositions. If it wasn't clear already, Lighter excels in fire and ice teams. For fire-based teams, we really only have one fire attacker in the form of Soldier 11, so that's kind of a given. And to help provide some buffs to the team, you could have Bernice to take advantage of even more burn damage, or have an attack buffer like Lucy or Caesar. Now again, you don't really need to have a traditional stun and attacker team. You can try and go all in on fire damage with Lucy and Bernice as well. As for ice attackers though, our only real option at the moment is Ellen, or I guess Mindscapes 6 Sokaku as well. So either of those two, and again with a buffer of your choice, either the aforementioned Sokaku, or maybe even a Rina if you're using Ellen as the attacker. And even though she is still a few weeks away, there is a good chance that Miyabi might also work well with Lighter. But of course, we don't know details of her kit just yet, so it's hard to say, but we can expect to see some official details in a 1.4 patch livestream, which will occur while Lighter's banner is still up. So we will still have a chance to get Lighter if they do end up working well together. Now for those of you who are willing to go for his Mindscapes, let's go over those quickly. For Mindscape 1, the extra stun duration caused by the collapse effect is increased by an additional 5 seconds, and the ice and fire resistance shred is increased by 10% as well. And then, the damage of the final finishing move that Lighter performs when running out of morale is also increased by 30%. This is essentially just buffs to all of his numbers. Mindscape 2 further improves the collapse effect to also increase the stun damage multiplier by 25%. So now, enemies take even more damage for more time. To add to that, the team passive's fire and ice damage increase provided by Elation is increased by 120% of the original bonus. Mindscape 4 turns Lighter into sort of an energy battery, increasing the energy of the on-field character by 10% when Lighter himself is off-field. And when Lighter enters the morale burst state, he provides 4 energy to the off-field characters. His final Mindscape doubles his morale recovery rate, and every 8 seconds, when Lighter lands an attack on an enemy, it deals a blazing impact which deals 250% of his attack as fire damage. This damage is further increased by 5% for each point of impact over 170 up to a maximum of 500. And when Lighter runs out of morale, he will also perform an additional blazing impact, ignoring the 8-second cooldown. So to sum it all up, Lighter is a great stunner, able to provide the team a lot of damage buffs beyond just the basic stunning of the enemy. Those extra 3 seconds of stun may not seem like much, but when you combine this with the extra damage from the reduced resistances and team buffs to ice and fire damage, this all combines together for some huge damage potential. Now as for me personally, Personally, I don't think I'll be pulling for Lighter. Don't get me wrong, he's a very strong unit able to stun enemies very quickly, and the buffs he provides to fire and ice agents is incredibly strong, but to me, that's also the issue. Even though his fast stuns and extended stun duration are really good and universal, in order to really see the maximum potential from the fire and ice buffs, you'd want to have a good fire or ice DPS to pair along with him. And I don't have Ellen, and Soldier 11 is a little, to me at least, underwhelming. Also, Bernice is a bit preoccupied in my other anomaly teams, and as for Miyabi, we don't know yet how well she might pair with Lighter. So right now, if I were to pull for Lighter, I don't really know where he would fit into my current teams. And the next banner coming up is possibly Harumasa, our first attacker agent in quite a while. And I think that I might actually try to get him instead, because at least with an attacker, I would like to think that Harumasa can carry his weight alone, as opposed to needing a specific type of other agent to really, quote unquote, get the most out of their kit. A good example is the recent HIA trial courses, where we were able to take Yanagi by herself and solo some bosses or some like small enemies and stuff like that. I feel like if you were to take a stunner like say Caesar or Qingyi, a solo trial like that wouldn't really be that exciting. In fact, at the last HIA trials, we did have one with Qingyi, and you were given a full team to use with her. But of course, that's just what my plans are. I'd love to hear what you guys think of Lighter and whether or not you will be pulling for him down in the comments below. Otherwise though, thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, liking, commenting, and subscribing is greatly appreciated and will help you stay up to date with in-depth character breakdowns and tips. If you're planning on pulling for Lighter, I wish you the best of luck in your pulls, and so, until next time, bye bye!